Hello and welcome into the first ever edition of State of the Sun Devils. It's the podcast that covers all Arizona State athletics for Arizona sports. Alongside Jesse Morrison and Jake Anderson, our Sun Devil beat writer here at Arizona Sports. I'm Jeremy Schnell. Jake's got all the answers and everything.
All the scoops.
I try to. I do my best.
He does do his best. And speaking of scoops, a scoop that happened a few weeks ago, Jesse.
Yeah, John Wilner.
Can't believe it. USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 in 2024. How is this going to impact the conference and the whole of college football moving forward?
I mean, it's just wild because I don't know if you've seen the map of the Big Ten, but of the new Big Ten starting in 2024. But you've got over here in LA, you got the LA schools. And then you have this giant chunk of country where there's no Big Ten schools, and then you have the Midwest and you have the East Coast. So we're gonna have this USC Rutgers matchup. USC going all the way to Piscataway, New Jersey. UCLA going all the way to Piscataway, New Jersey, or College Park, Maryland, or Penn State. It makes no sense. It's a funny looking image, but you got to chase those TV dollars. Am I right?
It makes dollars, so it makes sense.
Yeah, Big 16. And okay, so the big thing that
the Big Ten, the big, yeah. Okay.
I got you. But something that we're all scared about, how is this going to affect the Territorial Cup? Because if ASU and U of A get split up in all this madness, does the Territorial Cup have to be put on hold for a few years, or will they be able to play each other?
I don't think it gets put on hold. I think we've seen throughout college football that even if you're not in the same conference, you can still play your rival. We were just talking about Florida State with the SEC and ACC. Hell, Notre Dame and USC have never been in the same conference, and yet they play each other every year.
Yeah, they're like one of the biggest 5 rivalries in college football.
So with that, even if ASU goes to the Big 12 and U of A stays, or vice versa, or they go to completely separate ways, whatever does end up happening, there's no reason why they can't. From a travel perspective, and then from a monetary perspective, like, they need this game, both the schools do. And then also, all of us went to Arizona State. I've been here, living here my entire life, so it's a game that I know this state needs. And then maybe the most important part of it, the Territorial Cup is the oldest trophy in college football.
Yeah, you got to keep that together.
Regardless of its physical size, it is the oldest. It is the oldest trophy in college football, and we were talking about college football is tradition. That is the backbone of it. So you're going to need to have a Territorial Cup that alternates between Tucson and Tempe every year.
Yeah, I think at the end
hopefully it stays in Tempe.
I mean where it let me clarify, not where it goes, but where it's played.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes. I think at the end of the day, it might be 5-6 years down the line, but I think the Pac-12 will probably split up. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 super conferences, maybe Big 12, Big 10, SEC, or, in the Big 12.
There'll be some name changes in there.
Yeah,
probably.
there might be some name changes, but, the Big 12 takes in some Pac-12 teams and some ACC teams, makes a super conference. SEC does the same. Big 10 has already been doing that. SEC has already been doing that too, but... Yeah, but the most important thing about college football is to keep the tradition together. You can go grab the money, but also keep the tradition together, in my opinion. Like, you've got to keep these Pac-12 rivalries, like the Apple Cup, the Territorial Cup, Oregon State, Cal, Stanford. Like, those games have to stay no matter what, because then, if those games go away, then you've just got, a minor league for the NFL that isn't. Like, I never really get on board with these leagues like the USFL, and if it turns into that, then I don't know if I'll care as much.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
In terms of scheduling, I don't think it's an issue, because even if you are in different conferences, it's an out-of-conference game.
Yeah.
But here's the question now. Is it going to be affecting when the game is played? Because, historically, we're all used to ASU, U of A, rivalry week. It's the last game. I expect around Thanksgiving, that's when the game's going to be played.
Yeah.
So how much of a difference? That even gives you something to look forward to. Let's say your season doesn't go well. You still have your rivalry game at the end of the year. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that's that much better if you're playing it in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, but, Florida State, they play in the last week. Georgia Tech, they play in the last week. So I think you can keep that together. But, one of the greatest rivalries in college football, the Red River Showdown between Oklahoma and Texas, that's played at the Cotton Bowl in October. So that's one of the best rivalries in college football. And they're bringing back West Virginia Pitt, the backyard brawl. That's the first game of the season. So to kick off the college football season, you've got one of the premier rivalries that College Game Day is going to be at. So I don't think the date matters that much. I do like rivalry week to be a thing, but
Wisconsin plays a trophy game every week.
Yeah,
so.
The Big Ten plays a trophy game every week. So there's probably going to be a trophy game for USC and Rutgers. So USC Maryland playing for something,
playing cross country battle.
Yeah,
something like that.
Playing for an airplane wing or something.
Something that we didn't talk about is possibly keeping the Pac-12 as a conference and not merging with another conference. Teams like Boise State, San Diego State,
UNLV.
Yeah, Fresno. What do you think about that idea, Jake?
If we're trying to keep the Pac-12 together at all costs, yes. But at the end of the day, the Pac was already at best the fourth out of the Big Five. Yeah. So if we're losing USC and UCLA, we're losing the LA market, so those dollars and the TV money that comes with that is gone. The transfer portal has made college football, a season by season thing. It's practically like soccer now. But it to me, I don't know if the Rose Bowl is still going to hold on to the Pac-12. They obviously are going to love their affiliation with the Big Ten, but are they going to still want that to be a traditional Pac-12 Big Ten matchup? Because if you look at it in the next 5 years, let's say the Pac-12 includes a Boise State or a San Diego State, Fresno State, at that point, you're still going to want an Oregon probably. Yeah. You're going to want Arizona State, Stanford. Those are still going to be the bigger schools that the bowls are going to want, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting those eyeballs for that bowl game.
Yeah. Fresno, Boise, San Diego, even Vegas, they're not the LA market. And so
San Diego kind of taps into that as a top 50 market.
Yeah,
but
it's not LA.
Yeah.
LA's one of the biggest cities in the country. So you're just not going to get the same kind of TV revenue if you try to keep this together, pieced together. You got to form a super conference here. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And let's now move into some talking about ASU, the team that we actually cover here, or the team that Jake has some insight on. He was at Media Day the other day.
Media Day for returning players.
And
doing it in segments.
That's something that we're really interested in. And Doug Haller wrote an article the other day kind of going through and asking different players the same question. Ben Scott, Case Hatch, Jordan Clark, Ladarius Henderson.
Guys who have been here.
And Tamarcus Davis all answered a specific question that we thought was very interesting. Maybe some contradicting statements in there. We'll let everybody be the judge of that. But the question that was very interesting to us was, did last season's off-the-field issues affect the team? Scott said at first it kind of did, just knowing who's going to be our position coach and who's going to be in this role. And then,
and for backstory here, I just want to say, there's an investigation going on that hasn't been finalized yet. Yeah. That maybe ASU is doing some recruiting that they shouldn't have been doing in-person recruiting that they shouldn't have been doing during the 2020 recruiting shutdown. So this is what this question is based off of. Again, that investigation has not been closed yet.
That is all still allegedly and waiting upon NCAA investigation.
And it should be noted that in addition to the mass exodus of players, it also saw a mass exodus of coaches as well, including
yes.
2 new coordinators, although the defensive coordinator was the defensive backs coach last year.
Yes.
Now, Case Hatch answered the same question, and he said you could see on the field that things were affecting players. Let's go to Henderson. He said it just gave people something to talk about. We weren't really thinking about it too much. Allegations, ? What's that have to do with us playing Utah? Nothing. And then the final one that I thought was interesting was Davis saying, we blocked a lot of it out, but it's okay to let some of it in sometimes. It fuels us and pisses us off. pisses the team off. In the weight room right now, we have predictions displayed on every weight rack. So every day we see it. And he goes on after that. But I thought that was very interesting as well. But especially the Case Hatch and rest of the contradicting statements about some people said it affected them, some people said it didn't. I just wanted to get your take on that, Jesse.
So here's my thing. Last year was last year, and I've been reading a lot of articles coming out of that returning player media day. Jake has a great piece on Trevez Moore up on ArizonaSports.com if you want to go check that out.
And Kyle Soley.
So yeah, and Kyle Soley. They have some contradictions based off of last year and what was going on last year. But this year is this year. And what I've seen is this is really the only thing that these players have different thoughts on. And it's okay to have different thoughts and feelings. This stuff is going to affect everyone differently, and that's okay. But when I look at what the players are saying about this season, they're all focused on pretty much proving the haters wrong.
Yeah. And Jake, you talked to Kyle Soley a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to basically every player that was in that cafeteria. That was kind of the style that it was. It wasn't a traditional, scrum around one guy or anything like that. So you got a chance to talk to guys one-on-one, and that was the overall theme, is the guys that are here now are the ones that are bought in. Michael Matus was saying that they're trying to reestablish the culture, because if you're not... if you left via the transfer portal, you obviously had doubts or whatever your inclination to leave was. But the guys that are here, they want to win, and they are beyond motivated. And it's not just the self-motivation that every athlete has. It's from the outside noise. And the conversation I had with Trevez Moore, he told me, coming off an ACL injury, he had never been hurt before, and he actually got depressed for a couple of weeks.
Sure.
And he came from LSU, where he didn't play all that much, but he did win a national championship. And so he has that experience at an SEC level, which, Jesse, I know you love.
Big SEC guy.
But he told me that he went on Twitter and he saw all the negative stuff that was said about him, and he took that and he printed it out and he put it on his door. That way, every single day he knows exactly what he has to do and who he has to prove wrong, and that's literally something every single player was talking about, is just proving everybody wrong. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna read a quote that came from Kyle Soley, and I think this is what encapsulates it all. My expectations are a lot different than I would say your guys' expectations are. They have us at 5.5 wins this year. I guess we'll see in December, but I think anything I'm a part of will be more than 5 wins. So
they're confident.
Yeah,
as they should be. They're athletes. They don't
want to be doubted. They've been good at football their entire lives.
Not only are they athletes, but they're human as well. So they hear the noise, they see it. It's not like it's not going to affect them. So things affect people differently, and that's something that you said earlier, Jesse.
Yeah,
and so I don't mind the contradictions, because some people maybe it didn't affect them, but some people maybe it did, and that's okay because they're human.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if contradicting is the right word. I think it might just be different opinions.
Different opinions.
Like, one person doesn't speak for the whole team as a player, and like we just said, each player is different. They're human beings, and it affects them differently on and off the field. But like Jesse said, last year is last year, and the guys who they don't like and don't support, don't want as teammates, have left because they for whatever reason bailed, and the guys that are here are going to be fighting tooth and nail for each other.
What is your confidence level that ASU can move forward from this, Jesse?
I mean, obviously, there's the investigation's still going on, so it might come out, with the findings of the investigation in the middle of the season. And again, that's going to affect players differently. But the thing that makes me confident more than I was going into this media day is that that's the only thing that they have differing opinions on. This season, they're out to prove people wrong, and that's a positive to me.
And they all seem to want to play for Herm.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, because they really like playing for Herm. And players need to like playing for their head coach.
Yeah, and
I don't think that's monumental.
And this is all speculation here, but I'm not sure everybody that left really liked playing for Herm. And I think that these guys that are staying, they love playing for Herm. And so that's important as well to the success this season.
Yeah, Michael Matus and Kyle Soley both said the same thing about Herm, in that they've been here the whole time with Herm.
Yeah.
And they love Herm and what he represents, and they love playing for him. And, a guy like Kyle Soley, he went to Saguaro High School in Scottsdale, so he is an Arizonan through and through and just wants to
represent. He's a Sun Devil, man.
Exactly. I'm a Sun Devil, Jerry. But he is going to capture exactly what an Arizona State Sun Devils fan wants to hear from their captain.
I totally agree with that. Now, from confidence level from the team overall to what our confidence level is with the offense. New offensive coordinator this year. Jesse, I know you were very confused about the offense. It hurt your brain a little bit last year with how much motion there was. Just what are you expecting from this offense this year, and what do you want to see?
Okay, I'm just going to kind of talk about what I want to see and what I want to see in camp. So last year, they just couldn't throw the ball very much. Ricky Pearsall got some targets, and he did okay, but overall they really couldn't throw the ball well, and I just think their offense was a little bit too complicated for the level of skill that they had last season. And in college football especially, it's about running a few plays really well.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to do. They need to simplify the offense so it's a good college offense. They need to focus on the run game because they have a really good running room this year. Xavier Valade coming in from Wyoming, where he balled out for 4 years. And then you got Daniel Ngata, who every time he would come in would seem to break off a 10-yard run. Right. So I'm excited for that room. They need to focus on the run game. And then as far as the passing game, just simplify the passing game. Just execute it, execute the few plays that you need to execute in college football well. And that's what I'm looking to see, if when I go out to, one of these open practices that they're going to have.
Yeah, I think the basis of football is just that you run about 15, 20 plays out of as many different looks as you can to just confuse the defense. And I think going back to that motion stuff, again, I'm not in the huddle, I'm not in those meeting rooms, or I'm not entirely sure. But if I had to guess, a lot of the motion stuff just has to do with getting the defense to show you what they're doing. So with Jaden Daniels, I think maybe that was something to maybe help him, give him some keys on what the coverage might be on a particular play. Yep. But like you said, you got both your running backs from last year, your 1-2 punch is gone, and now you're going to have the new 1-2 punch that we just talked about. From a QB perspective, personally, I think Emory Jones is going to be the starting quarterback, and from a pass catcher standpoint, everyone left. Like the top 5-6 receivers, or including tight ends, have left or gone on to bigger and better things, and you have to find who's going to be the new guy to be your number one receiver. Is that going to be Elijah Badger? Is that going to be Andre Johnson? And I talked to Andre earlier this week, and his eyes lit up when I was talking about the quarterbacks because, they couldn't really throw the ball downfield, and he loves to model his game after, he said, Mike Evans. So he's a tall guy
Mike Evans,
who's going to go to the point of attack and get the ball and go up and make a big play downfield and spread the field, and that is a big part of an offense. It doesn't have to be an air raid, and I don't think it will. I think they'll try to be balanced.
Yeah.
But having that,
I don't think Herm would ever allow an air raid.
Yeah, but Herm loves running the ball.
He loves running the ball.
Herm is very old school, but to have that element to know that the safeties can't be creeping up to stack that box, to have a ton of guys ready for a run when there really was not that much of a pass threat last year. And nothing against Jaden Daniels, but he wasn't the most accurate passer. So I'm looking forward to see what Emory Jones' ability, not only with his legs, but with his arm as well.
And back to some of the motion stuff that we were talking about, like Jake said, I think that was good for the team, but maybe it was a little too much, Jesse, to your point as well. Going back to the wide receivers a little bit, I know, people are talking about the wide receivers a lot, and I just think that it will be important to see their chemistry level with the quarterbacks. I think that'll be very, very interesting to see for sure. And that leads me into the quarterback situation that Jesse thinks is a situation that that me and Jake both think is
it's not.
No, Emory Jones will be the starting quarterback.
Has Herm said that in a press conference?
Jake.
Herm has not, but Ben Scott, no depth charts out. So like at this point, we're just speculating.
It's wide open.
But
I am here to say that Emory Jones will be the starting quarterback week 1.
I would be willing to say that Ben Scott is going to move from right tackle to center. And we have him quoted as saying there's no way Emory Jones would come here unless he was going to be the starter. And he's been taking the number 1 team reps for the most part. And they have been working all of them, don't get me wrong. But Emory Jones, from what I hear, is most likely going to be the starting quarterback. In fact, you know what, Jeremy? We want to do a wager with Jesse?
Maybe.
Lunch bet?
Yeah, sure.
You buy lunch for me and Jake, and then each of us buy lunch for Jesse.
And we'll do it separately.
Yeah.
That way you get like double the
lunches.
Double the glamour
or
for
we
when
can
you're
buy
wrong.
you 2 lunches at once if you want, but I don't know if you want to eat that much
No,
food.
I'm actually on a diet right now, so we will go with the separate lunches. But can I?
Yeah,
can I hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Before I get into that, can I choose the establishment?
Well, within reason.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not buying you $50 steaks.
I mean, Ocean 44 sounds good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so confident that Paul Tyson won't be the starting quarterback that, yeah, sure. I'll pay for your dinner at Steak 44.
Okay. All right. Then Jeremy's not agreed to that though.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'll get you Chipotle.
Yeah, Jeremy's gonna give me some Chipotle.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
I mean, I like both, so let's get that out there. I like both. But yeah,
Paul Tyson.
Yeah, Paul Tyson. I think.
How many passes does he have in his
like
career?
16. But I think
Exactly.
you
He has no
gotta
experience.
consider him though. You gotta consider him. He has
Why,
the
Jesse?
bloodline
Yeah.
of Paul
Here.
Bear Bryant. He's the great
Take that
grandson.
out. Take that out. What else does he have?
He played under Nick Saban at Alabama.
How much
big
did
deal.
he play?
Doesn't matter. He got that coaching and practice.
Then what about Trenton Bourget? He got coaching in practice,
Yep.
but he has
Not from Nick
Not
Saban,
from Nick
though.
Saban, exactly.
Nick Saban, who's finally getting quarterbacks to do things at the collegiate level.
Yeah, he's been doing that for like 8 years now.
AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron was the first of those. That was almost a decade ago. I think it was a decade ago.
He's a solid backup
Yeah,
quarterback.
he's a solid backup quarterback that wasn't signed by the Browns, but okay.
But also-
they went with Josh Rosen.
Yeah, but we're just now seeing Saban have success with his quarterbacks at the NFL, and it's really one. And his skill set is nothing like Paul Tyson's. His skill set, talking about Jalen Hurts, even though he went to Oklahoma
Mac
afterwards.
Jones is Pro Bowler.
Mac Jones went to the right system,
That's true.
NFL wise.
But he did make the Pro Bowl.
We'll see what happens in the future, but
So what happened to Blake Barnett, though, Jesse?
He went to USF and had a good year.
I'll put it this way. Do you need your quarterback in this Arizona State offense to move? I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson movement. I'm not talking about Marcus Mariota at Oregon. I'm talking about, does he have to move to escape the pocket?
Probably.
Because there's been some offensive linemen that have left, Donovan West and
Yeah, and there's also who knows about the receivers.
But Jesse
still.
thinks it's very important for the quarterback to see well above the line of scrimmage and his offensive alignment. So being at
I don't know if I've ever said that.
Being at 6'5",
Putting words in my mouth here.
Paul Tyson is just like Brock Osweiler, basically.
Sure.
You got anything else on Paul Tyson? Well, you like Bourget too.
I mean he's just there. I think you just gotta consider him too. He's played some, and this he's a little more experienced at the Division I level than Paul Tyson is. If we're gonna go off what Jake talks about, which is experience,
Snaps.
big experience guy.
Emory Jones has SEC experience on a team that didn't have the same success as Alabama. So he's seen how bad it can get. Because Florida was good, but they weren't great.
Yeah, but Paul Tyson has playing for Alabama experience.
In all seriousness,
They're the best program in like other than Notre Dame, who won a bunch of national championships in the 40s and 50s. Other than that, they're like the most successful program in college football history. He
long as it
played for the
happens.
best coach of all time. You've got to consider that.
And he's the grandson of Bear Bryant.
Great grandson.
Great grandson.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, Jesse, the guy who says that Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi aren't in the top 5 because they haven't won a World Cup. So all their personal accolades mean nothing because they have not won a World Cup.
That is soccer. This is college football.
Hold on. It's a very, very simple metaphor. Paul Tyson, who has team success that he has not contributed to, is ranked higher in your mind.
Yes. Because
and that makes no sense to me.
But he was coached by Nick. Like I can't stop just going back to, he had the coaching of Alabama, and he's in that family, the Bryant family.
He's enthralled with everything Alabama. It seems.
I am.
Right. If he wasn't there holding that clipboard, I don't know what Crimson Tide would have done last year.
I mean, you never know.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You never know. He might have been the key to Bryce Young.
Here's my thing, and with all seriousness, we know Jesse knows that Emory Jones is going to start.
Yeah,
but
I do. Emory Jones will be the starter.
In all seriousness, though,
but I'm excited when the lunch comes. When Paul Tyson beats him out somehow.
For Emory Jones, I think...
we have to put a disclaimer. Injuries can't. If an injury happens, it doesn't count.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's the disclaimer.
Well, I don't want to have lunch off of somebody's injury.
Are you gonna let me finish my statement?
Sure.
Emory Jones will know that this is his job now. Last year at Florida, Richardson was breathing down his neck, and he couldn't keep the starting job. So this year, I think Emory Jones will have all the confidence in the world, know it's his job, go out there, and he'll be able to perform without anyone breathing down his neck. And I think that's really important, Jake.
Yeah, I think it's also good to have maybe not someone breathing down your neck, but knowing that, like, hey, you need to perform. You can't just go out and show up. Like, you need to study the playbook. You need to understand what everyone is doing. You need to push yourself harder than ever before because you are the quarterback of a team that desperately needs some spark to move it forward. But it also, it's a momentum boost when you have a guy behind you. Just look what happened with Aaron Rodgers since they drafted Jordan Love. 2 MVPs.
Jeremy, what about your plan?
2 quarterback system. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but
not just a 2 quarterback system.
Yeah, 2 quarterbacks in the backfield. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen. No, what do you mean? BYU did it very successfully 10 years ago.
Yeah, and how come they stopped?
Well, the NCAA wasn't ready for the monumentous change.
Just like the NFL wasn't ready for the Wildcat.
Yeah, the NFL wasn't ready for the Wildcat and then was very ready the next season. I think that we could see an evolution in football where you have 2 quarterbacks in the backfield.
Why not?
But that's like 10 years from now, and I also think
now is the time. You got a 6'5" pocket passer in Emory, and then you got Emory Jones who can scramble out of the pocket, make things happen. He can catch some Okay, never mind.
You could sling it over to one of them. Who's lined up as a wide receiver, and then they throw it all the way, to another wide receiver. It's an idea.
It's the Ricky Pearsall effect.
Yeah, it's like that, but with an actual quarterback.
What do you think, Jake? No, right?
It just, to me, from a play call or a play design standpoint, the pass to the second quarterback is going to have to be a lateral.
Yeah, or
it's going to have to be a handoff. So when they're both on the field, how do you fool the defense? It's, there's 2 quarterbacks on the field.
You don't know who's going to throw.
Okay, but the thing is...
Well, one's got to be a decoy, right?
Exactly.
Now you're playing 10 on 11, so you're just playing down a man. And then even if you do try to pass it, you're asking your linemen to protect for how long now? Not only do they have to block for 1 pass, they got to block for 2. You're at press coverage on guy on whoever's the non-first quarterback. And that's a pick 6 waiting to happen. What if the quarterback drops the ball and it's a lateral? Now it's a fumble.
These are all very good points.
No, I'm just the complications that come up with it. I mean, Tom Landry tried this. One of the greatest coaches of all time tried
this.
With
it? What happened?
It didn't
work.
Not
been not thought of before, though, so I think that validates the point that it might happen.
It's going to happen.
You can do it.
You got more athletic. Imagine 2 Kyler Murrays in the backfield.
And one would get hurt pretty fast because as soon as he got hit, it would be over.
Yeah.
Because you're not the quarterback anymore. You're allowed to get blown up.
You're a blocker.
You're a player. You're like everybody else.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, just to put this on the record, do you want this evolution of football for this year's Arizona State Sun Devils?
Maybe. No, probably not. No,
I want to see.
It was just to get Jake riled up.
If there's
honestly.
two people in the backfield, it better be Xavier Valade and it better be Daniel Gata.
Okay.
Yeah, Wildcat at the 1 yard line.
And I'll be fine with Case Hatch back there being a fullback as well.
Give the ball to the fullback.
Even if he's a lead blocker.
I want handoffs to the
Ron
fullback.
Wolfley.
We're looking forward to seeing ASU at camp next week. It'll be exciting.
Oh, only one day up at Camp T, by the way. Not doing a full week anymore.
Oh, they're going back though.
For one day.
I like that.
It's closed.
Is it an? Oh, it's closed.
The Camp T one is closed.
Darn. Okay. Because
That's
I wanted to go up there.
It's a good experience for the players. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So next week will be the start of camp. We're excited to see what happens there. We're going to talk to some of the players. Jake's going to do some inside whatchamacallit, reporting to try and figure out some things.
And we got the new additions, the new faces media day next week, so I'll get a chance to speak to Emory Jones and Paul Tyson.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
It'll be so exciting to see how this ASU season pans out. That'll do it for the first ever edition of State of the Sun Devils. For Jake Anderson and Jesse Morrison, I'm Jeremy Schnell. Have a good rest of your day.
Ciao.